All right, this is Art Jonak. I'm in South Beach, Florida right now, bright and early. As I was outside, there was nothing happening in South Beach because this town does not wake up before 11 a.m. And I'm sitting here with the master of prospecting. He prospects 20 people a day. We're going to talk about that, if that's actually humanly possible, and the answer is yes, it is. It's Mr. Ken Dunn. And also with us is one of the most amazing builders in network marketing, Mr. Orion Sala. He needs no introduction because by now both you guys all know Mr. Ken Dunn and Mr. Orion Sala. So the topic today is prospecting, is recruiting or sponsoring. I don't like the word recruiting as much, but sponsoring and most importantly prospecting. How do we find more people to talk to? Who do we talk to, and what do we say to them? So guys, welcome.
Good morning, Art. How you doing, buddy?
I'm waking up, but I'm pretty excited. I'm ready to take notes, and I can't wait to go jump in the pool to really wake up.
Good morning, guys. I'm excited to be here to get the inside secrets from both you, Art, and Ken, and maybe you'll get some from me as well.
So Ken says he sponsors, or not sponsors, prospects 20 people a day. Orion Sala, you've been watching Ken for all this whole crew. We just got off the MLM cruise. You've seen him here in South Beach. You've seen him in Norway. You've seen him in Thailand. I've been observing him. Is it true?
I am so amazed. He's become a true mentor of mine in that area, and I've been interrogating him now for weeks and months to see if this really goes on. And I can tell you, this story is a true story, and that's why we wanted to get this on this recording, because this story needs to be something that your team will listen over and over and over again to. And actually, the reason why I want this recording is that I want to listen over and over and over again to it.
So as we move forward here, you might be thinking, well, 20 people a day, I'm intimidated by that. I'm scared by that. I don't even want to listen. But here, listen to this. If Ken's doing 20 people a day, connecting with 20 people a day, just think about the information that he's learned through competence through his 10,000 hours, and you can now take some of that knowledge and say, look, I want to do 5 a day, I want to do 4 a day, 3 a day, 2 a day, 12 a day, whatever it is. If you can even go all the way up to 20, because that's the information we're going to share with you, up to 20. If you want 22, then you're going to have to learn a few more things maybe. So let's talk about that. Let's where should we start this? The mindset of prospecting?
Well, you know what? It's really amazing. I've been doing this for 6 years at this pace now, and what I've realized about prospecting is it's not really prospecting. I mean, you've said a lot about that, Art, as we've been talking about recruiting and building the business over the last couple of years. What I think the big thing for me is that early on in the game, I had a chance to learn from Michael Klaus, and Michael opened my eyes to the real art of recruiting or building the business. And if I was going to bring all of that recruiting, all of that experience, how do you do it down into one phrase? It would be that you've got to be all in. You've got to do it 24 hours a day. It's not about turning on a time to recruit or turning off a time to recruit. I've heard some of these trainers and people in the industry that say you should, work on the telephones from 7 till 9 o'clock at night, or you should take 2 hours in the afternoon. And I don't think any of that works. I think that if I was going to give sort of like a 10,000 foot view of my whole mindset on prospecting, is that I just do it wherever I go. We were down in the restaurant this morning having breakfast, and the waitress that came up to the table, Maria from Peru, she's been here for 8 years. And we started having a little conversation, and I brought up a topic that was of mutual interest. I'd been to Lima once and how that happened. Well, she doesn't realize that yet, but I'm prospecting her. And I'm doing that through building a relationship. And when we're finished this meeting, I'll go downstairs, and as I'm leaving the hotel, I'll ask for her phone number and call her back 2 days from now. So it just happens for me all the time.
Yeah, I know. Last night we were at a restaurant called Sardinia. Amazing food.
Wow.
And it was actually at the base of the condominium where Randy Gage lives, which is kind of interesting. But he was sleeping because he had to catch a flight this morning to go to Europe, as did Orion Sala. But before, you could see, Ken Dunn got up, he spoke with the waiter, he spoke with the staff there to the side. And I know, what was going on is he was building a relationship. As he was getting in the taxi, you could hear him sit down into the cabin, ask the taxi driver, so have you ever heard of network marketing, or have you been involved in network marketing? It's a nonstop thing for you, Ken. Yep. No matter what, you're creating a conversation, you're doing it with a smile on your face, and you're looking forward to the conversation.
The thing that amazes me every single time is how you, in 30 to 60 seconds, just gets them smiling and feeling so good about themselves. That is such a key to how you make friendships.
Right. You know, I read a book called How to Make People Like You in 90 Seconds or Less. Here's the bottom line. I've been a student of this process. You know, I appreciate being called a great recruiter, but I'm a great learner, I think, if anything. So I read all of Michael Klaus's materials and I implemented them. And I realized that if you're going to get somebody to join the business, they have to know you, like you, and trust you. And then I read a book called How to Make People Like You in 90 Seconds or Less by Nicholas Boothman. And Nicholas was a fashion photographer who had to create rapport quickly. And in that book, he taught me how to create rapport quickly, how to literally get somebody to like you fast, how to get a smile on somebody's face quickly. And I just implement those skills. You know, here's a really important part of this process. And I know we're going to get into a lot of detail about what actually happens in this training. But I think all of it has to start with a true desire to make friends. The first time I heard, I had a mentor in my second year in the business that said, a millionaire in network marketing is somebody with 1 million friends. Now, at the time I heard that, I wasn't really open to hearing that because I was still in that mindset where it really doesn't matter about friendships. You just recruit a lot of people, go all the time. But that thought in my mind just stuck with me over the last years and has become bigger and more important to me. And I really believe that that's probably the most important thing. If you start off wanting to make friends and wanting to be with people.
But when I've been watching you, you just look like this natural friend maker. It looks like you've been born with it. So like my first thought was that this can't be true. I can never be a Ken Dunn because I'm not born this happy, lucky guy that always makes friends all the time. So, were you just born in a special city, in a special family?
In fairyland.
Yeah.
No, I was... see, this is the most amazing part of the story. I was a police detective. My first year in network marketing, we recruited a lot of people, the business grew fast, and it crashed even faster because I didn't care about people. You know, all I cared about was how much money I could make. And when my business collapsed, that's when I met Michael, that's when I met you guys for the first time, and started to study everything that you guys talked about, and really fell in love with the idea of having a lot of friends. Well, I'll tell you how it started. In 2004, I lost all my friends. They all left me, so I knew I had to make more. But of all the things I've worked on in my life, I've never had so much fun in my life creating friendships.
You mentioned the book. What is the book title?
How to Make People Like You in 90 Seconds or Less.
How to Make People Like You in 90 Seconds or Less. You mentioned that you're a great learner. I think all leaders are constant learners. The moment we say, oh, we know it all, we're not learning anymore, it's over. The game's over. So the reason I ask you to say it again, I know a lot of people take notes on what's the books. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Carnegie, to me, is be a huge book. To just start to learn the skill sets, get in the mindset of, I can go make friends. I've given that book to my daughter, and she can manipulate her teachers like you can't imagine. It's amazing. Any books come to you, to your mind as far as creating friends, building rapport, that you can recommend in addition to that?
I'm not catching any book title right now, but I can say that I've read both those books, and I don't think you need to read very much more than that. But after you've read some books, I would recommend you to go into different CD albums and actually find some of those that are talking about recruiting, that are talking about making friendships, and the master on that, like Ken Dunn mentioned earlier, is Michael S. Klaus. Get his whole total success package of everything, and he will teach you the exact process of recruiting from an intellectual standpoint, and also something that he had tried out for years and years and years.
Okay, so step one is knowledge as far as CDs, books. Get around people who are good at it. So, Oren and I, even though Oren's, a 7-figure earner in this profession, Ken Dunn's a 7-figure earner in this profession, I notice Oren always tries to get around Ken, and then he looks, what's he going to say to the taxi driver? What's he going to say to the waitress? I bet Ken can get a business card out of that guy. Oh, he did. What did he say? Oh, I got to write that down. So get around people that are good at seem natural at sponsoring and talking to people and creating connections through mentorship. So books, CDs, mentorship. What's the next step is activity, right? So how did you go from reading about it to applying it? Was that instant?
No, it was just trying it every once in a while. And I'll tell you, the first couple times when I started to rebuild my business again, that I went out and started to contact people and interact with people, I was nervous as all get out. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of times in that first 4 or 5 months I went up to somebody, I was about to say something, and it was like that bashful 14-year-old wanting to talk to his first girlfriend. I'd just walk away from them. But, you know, Michael says you've got to do it 100 times before you're going to have that memory kicked into your head. And my why was big enough. My desire to fix my life and make it better and to make more was so great that I persevered through it. And
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because I think the natural response is we're going to be nervous.
Oh,
as
gosh.
we build this skill set, we're going to get nervous. And sometimes if you look at Ken Dam, just like you mentioned, it looks so normal to you. But the fact is, even today, maybe there's a point where you're like, a little nervous, I'm done with it, right? So that's
Yeah.
normal human response. We just have to work through that.
oh yeah, you know, the thing that keeps me going every day, or the thing that I realize or remember whenever we get into these conversations, is that the whole art of prospecting or recruiting, it becomes daunting to people. People get nervous about it. I think it's because we call it prospecting or recruiting. Listen to this, and here's one of the things that I talk to a lot when I'm training some of the people I work with on a daily basis. I say to them, let's forget about prospecting. You know, let's totally put it out of our minds, and all I want you to do from now on is go out every day and just make 2 friends. Can you do that? And every time they say yes, and it's almost like a mind shift for people.
It is. And that's a great way to put it. I know somebody once told me and was teaching, and I can't remember who it was. I apologize for not giving credit, but they asked, well, why don't you follow up on the phone call? And they say, well, I don't like the phone. It seems so heavy. But when your best friend just called you 5 minutes earlier, wasn't it easy to talk to your best
Exactly.
friend?
Absolutely.
So if we just make that shift of let's go make as many friends as we want versus prospecting, recruiting, contacting. I don't even like the word recruiting. If anything, we're sponsoring them into the business.